Mr. Cupe, can you hear me?
Yes.
How you doing this morning?
All right, you, good morning.
All right, we're gonna get started, okay?
Okay.
Good morning, my name is Parole Officer Mac. Today is April 3rd, 2025, and this is the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Parole. The following board members are present this morning by stating their names on record, certify they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Mike Paul.
Good morning, Joy Chance.
Good morning, Panel Member Rodriguez.
Please
Good
state your
morning.
name and please state your name and inmate number for the record.
Anthony Devon Cupe, 254-432.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Anthony Cupe, number 254432. He is serving a sentence of 6 years with no parole to follow. No probation to follow for criminal possession of pistol revolver. As of today, records reflect parole eligibility date of March 27, 2025. There is no victim impact in this case. There's an offender accountability plan for the offender. He has completed Voices, Tier 1, and currently participates in the Trinity College program. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Cupe, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
I made a few bad choices, along my life, and I don't want to make no excuse. I went through a bad divorce, so that's what made me led me back to the street. But I have, from the day I came here, I started making a change for doing things not on my own, but not being dependent on being comfortable with what's the easy way out for me. So pretty much that's what I've been doing my whole 3 years. Every day I've been focusing on staying consistent, building a support team where if something does happen, I have someone to go to where I don't feel I have to run back to the street.
All right, Mr. Cupe, thank you for your statement there. What we have here is we read about your criminal history and this conviction, what you've done since you've been incarcerated in your interview with the parole officer. And based upon that, we have some questions to arrive at your suitability for parole. Okay? And
Yes.
what we're going to do is take turns and ask those questions. Then we're going to talk about your case and give you a decision. Okay?
Yes.
All right. And we're going to start questions this morning with Board Member Chance.
Yes,
Good
so
morning.
hello again, Mr. Cupe.
Hello.
So your opening statement, you indicated that you committed the offense because, you were going through a bad divorce. And I don't accept that as an excuse, and I'll tell you why, Mr. Cupe. So I need to hear something more from you. You have a very extensive criminal history. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So when does it stop?
Me personally, I believe that from the day I came in, that I had to make changes all around, period. Not just for the better of other people. I actually did it for myself this time. Before I just did it because it was convenient. Now I'm doing it because I'm almost 50 years old now, and there's no excuse for me selling drugs and carrying guns. No excuse. I do say I was at a very bad point in my life because I stayed home 6 years without no trouble, no police contact. I just went through a rough patch, and it happens. And how you handle situations, I didn't handle it the way I should have. I handled it what I thought was the easy way out. And like I said, there is no excuse for what I've done. But since I've been here the past 2 years, I worked very hard at recreating not just myself, my thought process of making better choices so I can make it just in case something arises again if I go home.
Were you working?
Yes, I was working at Hertz. And then, like I said, I went through a rough divorce. And I ended up getting kicked out from my wife. A lot of moving parts was
But Mr.
happening.
Cupe, let me stop you there because you quit Hertz. You quit Hertz and you were not working for several months. So don't use the excuse of your divorce. You quit on your own.
Yes.
So if you are going through a bad divorce and you are homeless, it would appear to me that it would have been more important for you to hold on to the job. Does that make sense?
Yes, it would have made sense. But I wasn't thinking as far as like, how can I put it? I was thinking irrational, you know, like I said, there's no excuse for what I did. But like going from being a husband to just being basically what I did to her, she did it back to me, and it got too much for me to bear. So my mind was like totally all over the place, you know.
Mr.
I was
Cupe,
working. Yes,
that's life. There
Yes.
are a lot of people that go through breakups, get divorced, and do all of that. So you're talking, it's not unusual for other people to experience that. So I would have appreciated you saying you're taking responsibility for your crimes, for your extensive criminal history, and then say, you know, what you're going to do going forward. And I know you started mentioning that, but you keep coming back to excuses. So I really would like to hear you say what you're accepting responsibility for, and that going forward, these are the changes that you're making in your life to help you make better decisions.
well, I do accept responsibility. Like I do, I want to reiterate that because, like you said, things do happen. Mentally, I should have been stronger where I wasn't. That's just the bottom line. I made poor choices, but I should have been making better choices. And this time I sat down, it was not, I don't want to say it was a punishment. It was a chance to correct myself. And a lot of choices that I'm making, it gave me time to think, clear my thoughts, figure out other ways to make the choices I need to be able to survive in society. And now, like there's no excuse for what I did. There is none. You know, even though, like I said, a bad marriage, like you said, it does happen to people. Now I'm to the point where I don't have the option to make those choices any longer. Now I have to make it count because I'm not getting younger, and I'm not gonna have many more chances to make things right. So that's what I've been focusing on: staying away from negativity, doing what I can to better myself.
Yeah. And hopefully when you say you're accepting responsibility, getting a divorce is not one side, it's both parties. You played a role in it and your partner played a role in it. So if you don't honestly accept your role in it, how are you going to be able to move on so you can make better decisions? So you took Voices in October of 2023.
Yes.
What was your takeaway from Voices?
That everyone's a victim to some circumstances, to some situations. I thought it was when I came out, I didn't have no victims, but I impacted not just myself, my kids, the community. Everybody's a victim. That's what I learned. At one point in my life, I thought it was just, a victim is a person that you do something against. I learned that people are victim of life circumstances all the time.
Okay. So, you said you participated in some Trinity College courses. How is that going to help you when you go back in the community?
Well, it gave me goals again. It helped me put my priorities where, like, what do I want to do in life? You know, I do like helping people. So I've been doing this for almost 2 years now, consistently. It created some credibility, but liability too. So it gives me something to aim for. You know, I could took the easy way out, sat here and did nothing. But from day one, I started filling my schedule up with things that not just better my circumstances for even my kids and my grandkids. Now you can see, well, I'm not just a mess up. You know, yeah, he's in a bad situation, but look what he did. And actually, I feel great doing it because now people are starting to see me. They don't just say, "Oh, and make it cool." Now they say, "Okay, this is what you want to do." I get addressed by my first name. Like I feel like I have some type of purpose now when I didn't feel like I had any at one point.
So you indicated that you're interested in being a CNA.
Yes.
And when you talk about helping people, is that what you were referring to?
Yes.
So just food for thought, Mr. Cupe. You have to help yourself before you can help others. And sometimes that's people's downfall. So I want to hear from you what your release plan is going forward that's going to prevent you from coming back and extending your 25-year criminal history.
Well, I want to continue to build a solid foundation where I'm staying in school. I have a good. I'm talking back to my mom now, and I do it like I have some support with my mom. I have some grandkids that I haven't met yet, but first and foremost, I got to make sure I'm all right. I got to make sure that I can find employment, that I can find stability, whether I go to some type of groups.
Okay, so how are you gonna find employment?
Well, actually, I've never had a problem finding employment.
But I want to hear it.
I already started doing some resume building. I know how to work I'm pretty good on the internet, so, but I'm also good with going in person and talking. Like I have a plan, you know, from when
What's the plan?
First I got to get I got a spinal surgery that I got to get done. So once I get that done.
If you have to get your surgery done, who is gonna financially support you while you're getting that done?
Well, I still can do part-time work even after the surgery. I just won't be able to do full-time.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you again, Mr. Cupe, and I'm sure you understand what you're saying. I want to hear about your release plan that's gonna prevent you from coming back. So you say you have family support, your mother and your grandkids. Then you're gonna seek employment, but I need to know a little bit more because I'm sure, number one, you know you have a flat sentence.
Yes.
Number two, it's important for you to ensure that the parole board knows today what your solid release plan is so that you're not going to come back again.
Well, I've also been doing some job searching since I've been here because we have an app on our tablet that give avenues for felons. So I've been utilizing that also. Pretty much, I know, like I said, I know how to work the computers. I can go to the library. There's so many ways that I can look for an employment.
Why wouldn't you do that before you come to this hearing?
I've been doing that. We have a job stop app on our tablets that I use.
Okay, so what have you come up with?
I found a few jobs. Because like I said, I've done driving. I've done looked for driving jobs. I also found some warehouse work, but I've been utilizing that every week. I check it every week because it upstate every week for felon friendly jobs. So I've been utilizing it. I've reached out to a couple
So
jobs.
can I just ask you there, so you are gonna have surgery, but you're looking at warehouse jobs?
Yeah, because I can still drive forklift. I won't be doing manual labor.
Oh,
I'm still doing forklift.
so you're being very specific. You're
Yes,
gonna do forklift
right.
job.
Because my surgery I'm gonna have to get is from here to here. So I have 6 to 8 weeks of therapy, but I can still be able to drive.
Okay. What else?
I've been staying in contact with the school, with Trinity. Trinity also helps felons and their students find employment, whether it be through them or a reference through another source.
Have you
Um,
contacted them?
Yes, I stay in contact with them.
Okay, so that's what I want to hear. That you've contacted Trinity College, the contact source you have there, and that they're going to be working with you on employment and whatever other issues. So that's what I want to hear, Mr. Cupe.
Also, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
Also,
that's okay. Go ahead.
I'm also signed up with Hartford Public Library. They come up here once every 45 days. So I'm signed up with them too. They know I informed them of this situation. So if I did make it, I'll be signed up with them when I go home too for job referral, job ready for assessment, medical. I signed up for a few things.
So you were previously, and I don't need to know the details, just want to know if you're going to follow up. You were previously involved in mental health treatment. Are you going to be following through with that? I don't want to know the details.
Yes.
Just a yes or no, whether you intend to.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
3 years ago, I probably couldn't even be sitting here and talking to you. It would have been real hard for me to even sit here and talk to you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. Well, Mr. Cupe, you have been given 6 previous opportunities in the community, and you were successful at 4 of them. So what I would just like to leave you with today is think of what you did to be successful those 4 times. Okay? And try to see whether you can mimic that.
Okay.
Okay? So thank you for speaking with me today.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Board Member Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Cupe, just a couple of things. This is not your first gun arrest.
No.
Yeah, that concerns me. Right, you had a no permit for a gun, and you had a federal charge where you were charged 3 different times for weapons. What was that about?
I've never had a federal charge.
I have you down as having had a federal charge in.
No, never. Oh, it was all state.
In August of 2011, you're arrested for crack. You got probation, pistol, permit. No. No? But that's what I have you down in your rep sheet.
No, I have never been to the feds, never had a federal.
Do you have, so how many gun arrests have you had in the past?
This is my 3rd one.
Third one. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm coming up with. 3 arrests. 3 different arrests. What's the issue? What is it about guns? So, I mean, you weren't going through a divorce in those days, right?
No, I was just
So-
young.
This time it was because of a divorce. What was it? What was it then?
To be honest,
I want you to be honest.
we are just selling drugs. For me, when I was out there selling drugs, I never been violent, but I always found a need to, if something happened, I could protect myself. And that wasn't really the way I was supposed to be thinking. But at that time I was.
Why is that?
Poor choice, poor choices, poor decisions. No excuse, just poor decisions, poor choices.
So I've got to sit here and consider your suitability for release. I have a person who's got 3 different gun charges in their history. One you explain away by being under stress over divorce. The other 2, you were selling drugs. How do I know that if you're out there and things aren't going well for you, you can't get a job or you can't keep your job or you quit your job, you're not going to start selling drugs again and carry a gun again? Because in that particular world, you need to feel protected, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How do I know that from you? Because I'm not at this moment, I'm not hearing that from you. And today, look at how many young people are being killed by weapons today. I'm sure you're not so isolated that you don't know what's going on in the outside world. You know that young men are killing each other and they're doing it by utilizing weapons, utilizing guns. And that's a concern that we have around public safety.
I admit I played my part in.
And I don't want to not acknowledge that you're doing some work and that you really with college you're trying to get yourself together and you're trying to educate yourself. So I want to acknowledge that because I think you are making a turn in a positive direction. You really are. I can hear that from you. And even your demeanor today and talking with us, I can kind of tell that you're really trying to make a positive turn. But I have to tell you, man, I'm concerned about the gun charges. You weren't getting a divorce with those other 2 gun charges. You were selling drugs. And my concern is that, in the street, it's so easy now in the streets. If you find yourself in that kind of a situation to start selling drugs again, and what does that mean? That you're going to have to carry a weapon again? Because you're going to need to feel protected? Do you hear my challenge in this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because I don't want you to think that I don't believe that you're trying to make a turn in your life. I do believe that. I just don't know if you're quite there yet. To be able to handle the things that you got to handle when you're going to be on the outside. Because it's even worse now. Even in the last couple of years, it's gotten worse. The other issue that I had, you scored a 1 in your substance use. Yet you have all this history around drugs. How is it you haven't used drugs?
I only smoked weed my whole life. I never done.
How did that happen? I've known, that there have been dealers that we've seen that they all pick at their stuff when they have it. There's always a little pick here, a little pick there. How did you manage to stay away from it?
To be honest, I have no clue. I do know, by being from a single mom, selling crack cocaine. My mom did it for a long time, so I never escalated to nothing else. No drinking. I just never found none of it to how you want to say. I never found no interest in it.
You took a tier 1 program, and I'm glad that you at least took a tier program. And I wish you would have taken a little bit more, but I do have some real concerns about the fact that you've had 3 weapons charges and that 2 of them were non-related to your divorce. Even though I understand that divorce is stressful, my colleague made it very clear that just because you got a divorce doesn't mean you have to have a weapon. If anything, it's probably the wrong thing to have during a divorce because of the way emotions flare in fights and disputes and arguments and, that kind of stuff. It's so easy to resort to, the easiest thing, which would be the gun on your waist or, the knife in the kitchen or those things that happen in those kind of domestic disputes.
Right.
So anyway,
Well,
I heard, again, I think that you're making a turn. I really do. But I have to tell you that I'm really challenged by the fact that you've got these 3 gun charges. And I'm really concerned about you, not setting up a significant enough plan for yourself so that when you come outside, you have all the supports around you necessary. 1, to not make sure that you got work. 2, so you don't have to go back to selling drugs. Because that would be the easiest thing to do, right?
yes,
To get connected back into that kind of stream of things on the streets. And then have to put yourself in a position where you need to feel protected and carry a weapon. Because, once you're selling drugs, what are you scared of? Somebody's going to rob you. Somebody's going to take your drugs. You're going to go on somebody's territory and somebody's going to come after you, right? So I want to be honest with you and share that's a concern. But I also don't want to take away from the positive turns that you are making. And I hope that no matter what happens today, that you continue to decide to go on this positive path that you're going on, and that you really establish those support networks for yourself. So that when you're released, you're not working to set them up on the outside, but you've already got them set up and you're going to them when you're out. All right?
yes.
Right.
And
Thank
the
you.
reason why- I just want before you go.
Go ahead.
The reason why I took the tier 1 to learn about addictive behavior, and that's what I learned about being in tier 1. You don't have to be addicted to drugs to have an addiction.
Oh, no, you're addicted to the streets.
Right.
When you're addicted to the streets, if you're not to drugs, you were addicted to the lifestyle of the streets because it's evident in your prior history.
Right. And
It's very evident.
I'm still, even in here, I'm still, I don't know how to say the word, it's still here,
Yeah.
even in here. And
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm 100% changed, but I have navigated, not just navigated, I took myself out of a lot of situations where I could have been here doing the same thing, having drugs, having a shank. But I made better choices just because, like I said, enough's enough. And I finally realized enough is enough. Like
You haven't had any tickets this time that you've been in either.
No.
Which is a positive thing. That's what I'm saying. I can see that there's a turn going on with you. There's a change going on with you. I'm just not sure that you're all there yet to be ready to be on the outside, and kind of deal with the stresses and things that are going on the outside without considering a turn back to the way of life that you were running before. And your history shows that. All right, but I appreciate you talking to me this morning, and I really do wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Likewise.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Board Member Rodriguez. Mr. Cupe, just a couple of things. You took voices. The evaluation that came back on that said that you did an excellent job across the board, that you were engaged in the group, and that you took the programming seriously. That's a good thing. The classes at Trinity, 3.3, is that Dean's List?
Actually, I'm at 3.5 now. Yes, I'm working.
That's good.
And is that Dean's List?
Close. I'm close.
That's close.
Yeah.
I'm close. That's what I'm pushing for.
Good. And where do you want to go with that? Where do you want to go with that?
To tell you the truth, it's been so long since I had any goals, like any realistic goals. I know I want to get my associates, but I do want to go farther.
Any idea on what area?
It's cause.
No, I'm not pushing. I mean, sometimes you got to take some stuff in order to get there, but
It's social services. That's what I want to get into, social services.
so like social work or like
social
social,
good.
things with programs.
Things with programming where I can implement, bring ideas to the programs, because a lot of the programs, they're textbook, but they don't have this side
Right.
of what they know or what they hear. I want to bring
Yep.
my side into the conversation where, like our last class for Trinity, we had to write a business proposal, not a business, but a proposal to the Board of Education.
Yep.
And I found that it was like so easy for me, because being a father of multi-racial kids, my daughter's in a Spanish school, so me bringing this side and so they can see what's happening on this side, because a lot of our kids' fathers are here, so they don't know what's going on. I want to be in that conversation, be able to sit in the rooms, and even if they don't use it, it's in the air, so they know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's important. But doing what you're doing with education, I mean, you're proving that you can do something besides have the occupation drug dealer,
Right.
you know? And I mean, I went back to school at 44. So that's, and took a number of classes before I taught 8th grade for 10 years. So it's, you can do it. And it's like, here's the potential. Whatever it is that you want to do as you figure it out, head that way.
Right.
And I'm glad to see in your interview with the parole officer that you identified that you need to continue with therapy.
Absolutely.
Because that's, you don't get extra points being a man doing it yourself.
Right.
Or not asking for help.
That's the most I've learned just since the last 3 years. Ask for help. I thought asking for help was like a disease. Like, I don't want it. But now I find it a lot easier to ask for help, even if it doesn't go my way. At least I asked, I offered, instead of just shutting myself out, period. That's what I learned this time. Just ask for help.
That's important. All right. I don't have anything further. We're going to talk about your case and then we'll give you a decision. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Board Member Chance.
Yes, so, Mr. Chair, so I'm gonna just say what my concerns are and close with the positive aspects of it. So, my concerns were his 3 gun charges and the fact that, he was selling drugs, but did not, and thought that he needed guns to protect himself under 2 different circumstances. One, which was the selling of drugs, and the other was because he was getting a divorce. But as Mr. Rodriguez pointed out to him, that was not a good decision. My other concern was the 2 failures that he had was while he was on parole supervision. And that was concerning to me because that's what he's asking for again today. Okay. And my other concern was he really didn't come prepared with a release plan, but through questioning, he was able to share more extensively about what his plans are. And that was through the questions that all 3 of us asked him today. The positives for Mr. Cupe is that he has not received any DRs. He completed the Voices program and shared a few important things that he learned. And one was that, you know, you can ask for help, that he can ask for help. And that before, he didn't think that he had any victims. And I thought, you know, that was also important. Also, the college courses that he talked about, and he related that to being able to help other people. But, you know, as a reminder, reminded him he had to take care of himself before he can do that. So he thought about, when I really asked him about his release plan, he talked about family support, seeking employment, and he mentioned driving and jobs. But when he went back to talking about the surgery, he sort of became a little more specific and said he can do forklift driving at a warehouse. In terms of, again, his release plan, he's in contact with the Hartford Public Library, where they can do help him with job referrals. I also asked him what he was doing in terms of his mental health, and he said he was going to follow through on that. So when you pressed him about his, you know, his plans for his courses at Trinity College, and he mentioned social worker and wanting to share his conversation about the role he played in selling drugs, and, you know, the fact that there are tons of victims. I thought that was very good. So when I weigh the pros and cons of Mr. Cupe today, despite the concerned areas that I have, I would be willing to grant him discretionary parole today, because through questioning, he did come up with a really good release plan, always keeping in mind that he had the 3 previous gun charges. But luckily for him, so far, no one has been harmed. And he's very much aware, as Mr. Rodriguez pointed out, what's going on in the community with young people today. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of in his head. And I know he wants to share his story, which is more important. So that's where I am.
Thank you. Board Member Rodriguez.
Well, my colleague makes makes very, very good points. And I think, as I shared in speaking with Mr. Cupe, that I do believe that he is making a turn in his life, and I do believe that he's trying to put his life together. I'm still very concerned about the fact that there were 3 gun charges, and he was not being divorced for the first 2 gun charges. So that's just in existing. Clearly, he said that part of it was for his protection, and that's because he was selling drugs. And it seems to be, based on his history, it seems to be kind of a life that he's led for quite a long time. And he does have goals and a plan to come out, but I don't believe that it's fully pulled together at this point. He also clearly said that if these were poor choices that he made, I would like to see him have an additional program. I think maybe the new replacement for good intentions, bad choices.
Any thoughts?
New thoughts would be a good thing for him to take before he comes out. I would not be opposed to having a rehear and have him come back, having taken, some additional program, including that particular program, just to more fully provide him with more opportunity to consider his thoughts and decisions, and his planning to really set up for himself a strong network of individuals on the outside that can really kind of be more supportive to him. as well as have a job set up for himself, because definitely he clearly said that his other addiction, although he wasn't addicted to drugs, he was addicted to the lifestyle of the streets. And that kind of concerned me when he said that. I'm not taking away from the work that he's done. His education, he's done some really good work. I think it's going to be important for him, for his future. And I think he sees that as an important piece to his future. I want to encourage him to continue to do that. But for me, for right now, I'm a denial. One, based on the 3 gun charges that he had and all the serious that's going on in the streets for public safety. I would not want him to come out, have some sort of stressful situation to him, pick up another gun again. And although there hasn't been a violent incident this time, we all know that it's like a bomb or a time bomb. It's a matter of time before something like that could happen, and there could be an escalation, and he could find himself in an even more serious situation because of it. So I'd like to see him kind of get control of that. So I would say even bumping up and going to a tier 2 program, even though he's not addicted to drugs, as he says, but to really have a sense of a strong impact of addiction on his life. So for me today, I'm a denial, and I would be willing to consider a year for him, probably then. And he's got till 2027 before he comes out. So I would say even, a year from now, less than a year from now, that gives him time to really continue his education, to get his degree, which is something he wants to do. And this would put him in a safe environment to be able to do that, because he's continuing to do that. And to remain ticket free during that time. But I would consider, in terms of time, a year, I would consider something less than that if there was another person who wanted to not stand as the center in this case.
So, thank you. So where I am in this case is Mr. Cupe's criminal history goes back to 1995, so we're going on 30 years. The only assaultive behavior he has is in October 1999, and it was an assault 3. The only other stuff that's here is breach of peace, which at the most is an argument. So Mr. Cupe is a drug dealer. And it's quite often that you'll find a drug dealer with a gun. And I'm concerned about somebody with a gun that has shot it before or shot it at somebody or something like that. Not to say that I'm not concerned about guns in the street, because I certainly am. I can understand where the thinking of Board Member Rodriguez. However, when it comes to new thoughts, we're now 6 classes into, or 7 classes in at Trinity, with a GPA that's continued on the rise. He's thinking about future goals and positive contributions to society. I can, of course, tier 2 is always good for everybody, but when DOC rates you a 1, you're not going to be able to access a tier program, which is, a tough thing. However, he did go what he could do, and that was a tier 1 at the jail, which is, they don't have a tier 2 at the jail. It's just tier 1 is just available. It's kind of
Which I think he said he did.
County jails, yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of change, I think the evaluation for voices spoke a great deal, because being offered the program and the opportunity, he not only engaged But he was an example. He was positive force in that group, the same kind of positive force I think he's trying to be with college right now. I would, I really believe that Mr. Cupe is in a place where he's ready to have a chance in the community. And I do, not to I do note that problems that he's had in the past have been with parole. Many of them were several years ago, but in most recent special parole piece, he did come back twice before he finally successfully completed it. So I would support Mr. Cupe's parole today.
So Mr. Rodriguez is dissent?
Yeah, it'd be dissent.
Okay.
What would you have him do? Halfway house, mental health evaluation and treatment is deemed necessary?
Yeah, and those were the only two.
Okay. Regarding Anthony Cupe, 254432, I move to grant parole on or after April 3rd, 2025, with the following stipulations. Halfway house placement, mental health evaluation, and treatment as deemed necessary. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
Nay.
And by a vote of 2-1, Mr. Cupe, you've been voted to parole. You've heard what we had to say. I really hope that you listen to what Mr. Rodriguez had to say as well. Because those are legitimate concerns. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck to you, Mr. Cupe.
Thank you.
This concludes the hearing for Anthony Cupe, number 254432.
Do I stay here?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You're all set, Mr. Cupe, so if you can get this, you're all done.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one.
Mr. Deere, could you call the officer in so we can unmute your room? Hi, officer. We just need you to unmute on your end. We muted it during the previous case, so.
Try that. Can you hear?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I ain't messing with you.
My name is Parole Officer White Richmond. Today is Thursday, April 3rd, 2025, and this is the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. Following board members are present this morning by putting their names on the record, certifying they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Mike Pohl.
Good
morning.
morning, Joyce Vance.
Good morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Good morning, panel.
Sir, can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
Michael Deere, 253-659.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Michael Deere, inmate number 253659. He's serving a sentence of 10 years, execution suspended after 5 years, followed by 5 years of probation for 2 counts sale of narcotics and 2 counts failure to appear in the first degree. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of March 10th, 2024. There's no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan in place. It has been reviewed and shows that he continues to maintain a job assignment and completed biohazard cleanup. He has not completed any additional programming aside from that since his last hearing. Utilizing a statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls in the high range risk for recidivism. Mr. Deere, this is now your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole, and you may begin.
Well, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, as you said, well, I still work for medical, I'm still in the PCA program. I do have a plan when I get out, you know. I got several plans, actually, you know. If I put in for the halfway house, whatever, for Norwich and Hartford, I'm from Bridgeport. So here in Bridgeport, I got a sister-in-law she wanted to get me in Griffin Hospital. But I told her I didn't want to be out this way. I'd rather be, you know, somewhere where I'm not familiar with. I don't know nobody, whatever. I want to, you know, try to get myself together on my own as much as possible. So I didn't take that offer. You know what I'm saying? She said she actually told me she knew a couple of hospitals in Hartford too. I mean, so I told her I'd let her know whatever halfway else I go to, I'll contact her, whatever, let her know what's going on. But for myself, you know, I'm basically just tired. You know what I mean? I'm tired of this. You know, I've been selling drugs, running around the neighborhood, near half my life. I'm 47. I'm just tired. You know what I mean? Got a little baby girl before I came in. She was 1. You know, I didn't sell drugs for like 7 to 8 months before I came in. I was just working, spending time with the baby, whatever, because of the cases. But you know, I'm basically just tired, you know. And then working here in the infirmary, you know, I get both sides. You know, I already know the selling drug side. You know, I was doing that half my life. On this side of things, I deal with mental health and I deal with medical. So it's like I talk to all the patients. I'm helping them, wrapping bandages and stuff. So you know, I got relationships with everybody that come in, mental health wise. After they get off their little situation, you know, if they got a medical problem, I'm dealing with them, so I'm conversating with them, you know. So I got a side now. I can say I know what the drugs do to people, you know what I mean? Other than what I already knew, I get to see the bad effects of it, like, you know, the shooting heroin or whatever, their legs rotted out, arms is messed up, you know. I'm conversating with them, talking to them, you know. But for me, I just feel like I know both sides now, which that ain't even the reason why I'm just tired. I'm really just tired. You know what I mean? I'm tired of leaving my kids, getting a relationship with them, after not having a relationship with them, then leaving them again. You know what I mean? That right there is breaking me down. Like, you know, I've lost a son since I've been in here, you know, in 22. That just changed everything, because before I came back here, made bond. So I'm building with him because I know he was on his way home from doing his bid. So he was angry because since he was locked up before his friends got killed, so he wanted revenge. So I got in his head, had him on the right path. Well, you know what? As far as I know, to me anyway, it was the right path. He calmed him down. He was talking about working and trying to stay away. Then I got locked back up. They let him go a little early. I came in February. He got released in May, June. He got killed in a short time right after that. He came home wilding, going crazy, whatever. But it's just been a lot. I mean, I lost my uncle since I've been in here. You know, he was part of my foundation. But, you know, I'm just tired. You know what I mean, I'm just tired of leaving the family. You know what I mean, building and getting destroyed because I'm still fucking around. Excuse my language, I'm still messing around the streets. You know what I mean, so that's my story right now. You know what I mean, I got a plan. I reached out. I wrote to this attorney, I think Ms. Hill. She just sent me a package last week. I let her know I wanted to go to Hartford area or Norwich, so she sent me a little package on both. All the different the support groups, whatever, that I could reach out to, whatever. And when I get there, I got a couple of numbers she said highlighted for me. So that's my step when I get to wherever I'm going. I mean, that's my steps that I'm trying to take.
Thank you, Mr. Deere. I'm sorry about your son.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, that right there was like the icing on the cake for me, because I know his anger, and I know like two of his friends, they used to be at the house a lot when they was little. So it was like, I remember when he got killed. So for him to be on his way home, and he was just so angry, and he got kids scared of him, and I used to just build him. Tell him, call me, whatever. He's like, Dad, I don't want to call you. I know you in the streets. Just call me. So he used to call, and we used to just talk, and he finally started, changing his mind, like talking different. Like, so I felt I was getting somewhere with him. You know what I mean? And to be honest, as a kid, I was just in and out of his life because of street shit. You know what I mean? I'm back and forth in jail. Like, come home, get with him for a few months, I'm back in jail. So it was like I never had a really solid relationship with them. Like, my two oldest, I got 6 kids. So the two oldest was, he's the second oldest. So it was like I had him, talking to him verbally, mentally, but it's like once I got locked back up, and he came home and I'm locked up, it was just like he just ran wild. So you know what I mean? I was mad that he got killed, but at the same time, like, me being from the street, I know the streets. I know how it go. So I can't even be mad at the killer. I'm mad, but I can't be angry. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the killer, because I know what come with it, and I know what he was doing when he came home. I mean, so it was like, it was a loss, like, you know what I mean? So it was just a lose-lose all the way around the board for me, like, you know what I mean? So it was just like, I know I gotta do better for my other 5 kids, like, you know what I mean? Period. You know what I mean?
I get that.
Yeah,
So just, you've done this before.
Right.
Really what I'm interested in is, what's transpired since the last hearing. And so at the last hearing, they asked you not to get any more disciplinary reports, and you accomplished that, obviously. There's no more here. There's no more reports here. But one of the things that they asked you to do was a tier program.
Right.
And we're trying to figure out what happened. Why is it that you weren't able to get that tier program?
Well, they tell, I never used drugs before, period, but I talked to the, I forgot her name, because for a minute, it wasn't even no programs going on here. It just really started like the middle of last year. So when I talked to the lady, she's like, "Oh, Mr. Tier, you don't need this, that." I was like, "Well, I probably don't need the tier. I know for myself, I don't need no drug program. But to me, I'm addicted to money. You know what I mean? And to me, it's the same thing. Like, addiction is addiction. At the end of the day, I know that. So it was like, but I couldn't get in the program because it's this whole jealous addiction. It seemed like, but whatever. But that was the reason. And then at the end of the day, my job, I'm at work from 8 to 4. Then I come in at night on third shift sometimes, because people stay getting fired for whatever, stealing, or whatever it is they might get fired for. But it's like I'm all over the place in the infirmary, basically. So it's like 8 to 4. 8 to 4 is that's my regular schedule. But then I'm doing other shifts too, like if needed.
So then, can you talk to me a little bit about, I mean, I have down here that you've had, you consumed alcohol in the past, you smoked weed in the past.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about what's the role of those things in your life?
Well, I mean, I'm not a big drinker, and I don't smoke weed like that much. Like, I'm like a here and there smoker. I drink on, occasions, or I might do it on a weekend or something. I don't know. I'm not no big, neither one of them. I don't do it like an everyday thing. I just do it, occasionally, like, or if I'm chill, I might be chilling with a certain female, might just, smoke some weed or buy a bottle or something, but it's not like an everyday thing. Like, I don't do it often. Yeah.
And then, so you did say, you did talk about the streets kind of being an addiction.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I mean, for me, I like to have, I'm like a giver, period. Like family, whatever. If I deal with you, I'm a giver. I know you need something or I can help you. I'm a giver. Like, so, so for me, money, I say I'm addicted to money, like, cause I like money, like, for me, that's why I try to set up a job. For when I get home, I'm already in place. I can just, do what I got, paperwork, whatever I got to do. I'm already can be in a situation where I'm not going to be starving for money, like, for me. But that's why my aunts, they wanted me to come to their house, this and that. You don't need no halfway house, this and that. So I had to let them know. I'm like, Auntie, this ain't about having nowhere to go or having a, foundation, whatever. I want to do things for myself. Like, I'd rather be somewhere where I gotta come up by myself. Basically, like, I could be a regular civilian, regular smoke Joe, don't know nobody. Like, I ain't gotta depend on a ride. I can just take the bus comfortably or whatever it is. Like, I just want to get myself together, basically. That's where I'm at right now in my life. Whether I make parole or not, my plan is gonna be my plan, the way I'm gonna do it. That's how I feel right now. Last year when I came, I wanted to go home. I wanted to go home for right reasons and the wrong reasons. I wanted to go home to get myself together. I felt the same right now, but it was more of a grieving because I haven't been around no family since my son got killed. So I wanted to go home for that. Every time I talk to one of my aunts or my cousins, they ask me how I'm doing. So, I wanted to go home for them reasons too. Like, but now, everybody see that, like even when I talk to them, they be like, "Oh, that's crazy. They didn't give you parole last year." I'm like, "Yo, calm down. Like, you gotta understand that I'm a career criminal at the end of the day. My time could have been more. It could have been worse. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't even have the blessing of having a job and the blessing I had with my job, like, getting a PCH certificate or whatever. You know what I mean? I could have just been up the way, probably stood on the list for something or anything could have been. And I had to explain that to them and make them see it my way for them to understand me better. Like, understand I'm the one that's in here, the one who got myself in here. So it's like, this was the best for me. You know what I mean? So I don't know, that's just where I'm at right now. I need to get myself together for my kids. Like, I always, like, all the bids I did, I go home, I don't think about me. I think about the time I lost. Oh, my kids don't got this. Why they don't got this? Or, I'm saying? Like, I don't think, like, I wasn't thinking like, damn, they've been doing good this whole year while I was gone. Well, I gotta come home and rush around and try to get them more. Like, I'm saying? I didn't help with the bills a year and a half ago. I gotta rush home and help with the bills now. You know what I mean? So now it's just like, my mind is more settled. I can't even say now because I felt the same way before I came in. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I was just working, chilling with my daughter. The first daughter, I got 5 boys, 1 girl. So, that right there alone for me, that changed a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like, every daughter needs their father. Every boy needs their father, even more nowadays. But, That's how I looked at it at that time, like, I mean, so I just
Well,
want to get my shit together,
Yeah.
myself together. Excuse
when
me.
was your last lengthy incarceration?
I came home 2010. That was my
So
last.
It's
Yeah,
been 15 years.
yeah.
And the last time you were in 15 years ago, did you didn't do anything like this? Like PCA and stuff
Nah.
like that?
No, I wasn't even
Right.
thinking about. I didn't even think about. I
You're
didn't think
thinking about getting
about.
back out and getting back out to the street to continue to do what you're doing.
That was it. I mean, that was it. I
Um,
never.
I appreciate your talking with me, and again, I'm sorry about your son.
Yeah, thanks.
Board Member Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Deere, I too, say I'm sorry to hear about your son. I do have a real understanding of that and understand, your loss.
Thanks.
And I know it's very significant. But just let me share a concern that I have. I mean, I went over your last hearing and went over the decision that was posted, and you seem to be basically in the same place. You were doing the CNA work then, right? And what they really wanted you to do was this tier program, and you didn't do it.
Yeah,
right?
And
I hear you. You didn't do it because you feel you don't really have a problem, and you're kind of committing yourself to your CNA work and doing that kind of stuff. And you hadn't had any tickets when you had the last hearing either.
Right.
You hadn't get any tickets, so that hasn't changed either. So, I mean, I read your stuff, and what I don't see is any difference from your last hearing to this hearing, other than you're tired, you want to be with your family, which I get. I understand that. Nobody wants to be where you're at. They'd rather be with their family trying to help out.
Right.
And you said a couple of real significant things as you were talking with my colleague. You shared that, you have an addiction to the streets.
Addiction to money.
And to money. I was going to add that.
Right.
So then kind of an addiction to the lifestyle and addiction to money. And those are two like really serious things, right? Because you haven't put anything around you to help support you when you come out to go back to that kind of lifestyle if you start to have any real major challenges in your life.
Well, I mean,
and I hear real positive things from you because you want to help people. You want to do those kinds of things that make people feel better. You said you wanted to make your grandsons or kids feel better. You want to do things for them. That takes kind of work and money and those kinds of things. And I'm worried that if you don't have sufficient work or sufficient money, that because you admitted now that you're addicted to money and addicted to the streets, that's a lifestyle that you might go back to. And so I'm not seeing any difference from now to back then. Your history reflects someone who has been out in the street, right? Selling a lot of drugs.
Right.
Engage in those kind of street activities.
Right.
That help bring you some money so you can survive and not work. I don't see a big work history with you, right?
But before I came in, I was at my job for almost 6 years. I mean, but
so then tell me why the added drug charges if you were working for 6 years, which now even creates more of a conflict for me, right? Because now you are working and selling drugs.
Right.
So working wasn't even enough money, and you're never going to make the money working that you make selling drugs.
Well, when you got a lifestyle and you got a lifestyle and you got tiredness, you know what I mean? Like you could be tired of something from being up one day. But when your brain is tired, that's when you know you're tired. You know what I mean? So for me, money ain't nothing. I can get money. It's easy to get money. That's what I said. It's easy to get money. It's what you do with the money. It's how you save the money or how you spend the money. You know what I mean? Like that's what I said. When I came home in 2010, I didn't start selling drugs in 2013. So I started selling drugs because I started buying and selling cars. And I mean, I was doing that. And then I ended up talking to my boy. He had this big plan. He was trying to do whatever. And that's how I got back into selling drugs. I mean, I was comfortable. I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I said I want to take myself away from Bridgeport. I mean, I want to go somewhere where I could just, build myself.
I hear that. I hear the challenge of that. The challenge of that is that there are drugs everywhere, not just in Bridgeport. And there are people who move around. So you may still run into people in other places that you go to. So the change is not, although it's important to change even people, places, and things,
Right.
But you also have to change the way you deal with it,
Right.
separate from anything else, because it still may be there.
No, it's
Right.
not. It's not there. Before I came in, I didn't start drugs for almost a year, almost. I mean,
Yeah, but then you started selling drugs.
No, I didn't. Before I got locked up in 22, I didn't sell drugs.
No, there were times that you stopped and then started.
No, I stopped one time.
Oh,
I stopped one time when I had my daughter. That was it. That's the only time I stopped. I never stopped selling drugs, except for when I came home in 2010. I didn't start selling drugs in 2013, but I never even thought about stopping selling drugs before. Now, I mean, until I had my daughter. That's when I was just chilling. I mean, fighting my case. I wasn't doing nothing. I mean, that's
you froze there for a minute.
Yeah.
We didn't hear what you said.
That was the only time I stopped selling drugs once I had my daughter. That was it. I never tried to stop before, like selling drugs, and then I just stopped, or I mean, I never did that. I never did that before. I stopped when I had my daughter. I didn't touch. I wasn't doing nothing. I was just working and watching my daughter. That was it.
So all those times in between your arrests for possession and sales, you were still selling drugs once you got out.
I only had two cases. I only had my case from 19, and then I had once that case happened, that's when the other case happened out of Milford. That was when that case happened. They had my phone pinged, and that's when that happened.
2000, sale of hallucinogenics. 2004, possession of narcotics.
No, I'm not talking about back then. I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about right now. That's what I'm talking about. Like before I came in right now.
I'm looking at you in terms of your history.
I'm sorry.
Showing you your patterns of how you do things.
Oh yeah. I already know my history. I know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
That's where I'm coming from.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm looking at your history of stuff.
Yeah.
Of things you've been involved with.
Right.
Okay. So we can agree that there is a pattern.
Of course. Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. So
those are my concerns, Mr. D. And I don't want to take away from the good work that you're doing, man. You're doing some good work.
Nah.
All right. But I have that concern about you, man, that you haven't set up the support network, one, because you didn't do the tier program you should have done. Because if you would have done it, it might have connected you to some things that would have even been more helpful for you.
Yeah. But
it would have been even more helpful for you in your, and I didn't hear all of your plans. You gave us one plan, I think.
Right.
You said you had several plans.
I got a lot of plans.
And I don't need to hear them right now, but.
Right.
But, you need to have that support on the outside to really be able to make this work for you. And again, I don't see a difference in your particular situation from now to when you were first heard about this case. And that does bring me some concern. And that doesn't mean that I don't wish you the best, and I hope that you do well, and I hope that things go really well for you, and that the plans that you put together do work for you. But I'm going to suggest to you that whatever happens today, that you consider doing some sort of a program that helps provide support for you on the outside, no matter where you go.
But
so that you have that network. So that you have that network of. I don't need an answer from you on this. I don't.
Right.
I'm giving this kind of as a piece of advice.
Right.
That you have that network for you, so that it supports you, when you're on that street and something stressful or challenging happens to you, and you have people to go to kind of deal with it. All right? Listen, the best of luck to you, Mr. Deere. I do wish you the best of luck.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Board Member Rodriguez. Board Member Chance.
Yeah, so Mr. Deere, for me, I'm gonna tell you what my concerns are. It's a rehear for you. And based on your last hearing, the panel expressed some concerns about your sale of narcotics and the impact on the community. And you were asked to complete an addiction services program and any other positive programs. And what I've heard from you today is you justifying why you did not need to complete the addiction services. And that was because with a drug score of 3, you minimize your alcohol and marijuana abuse. So I don't know where your thinking is, Mr. Deere, but the board did ask you, the reason they gave you a rehear date was so that you could complete that addiction services program. And it was important because you have an extensive criminal history of selling drugs. You yourself, in your last hearing, even expressed concerns about you selling someone drugs that ended up in the person's death. And they recognized your concern there and wanted you to do that addiction services program to bring home to you the dangers of your continuous selling of drugs. And somehow all of that went down the tube. You also mentioned today that you're addicted to the lifestyle of the street and money. The way you get the money from the streets is selling drugs. You were not working when you were arrested. It's not as if you don't have job skills where you could obtain employment. Then the other concern is you have been given 11 opportunities to go out in the community and rebuild your life, do something other than selling drugs. And you have failed on nine releases. You were successful in 2. So for me today, Mr. Deere, you did not do what the previous board asked you to do. You should have been here today with a really good release plan that tells me as a board member that when you go back in the community, what you're going to do to prevent yourself from selling drugs. That would be either a vacation program or you're training to be a PCA. You would have made connections and have some definitive response for, your employment and who you have for social support. What happens if you get the urge to go back to the streets to sell? Someone who is there support for you that you can call them. I didn't hear any of that today, Mr. Deere. And, before I end, I do want to say I offer my deepest sympathy in the death of your son. And I know that cannot be easy. So, good luck. I'm all set, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Board Member Chance. Mr. Deere, we're going to talk about your case now and give you a decision. Just want to first off address that this is a rehear. Just as a rehear, and that Mr. Deere was in Bridgeport Correctional Center a year ago when the hearing occurred. In order for him to take a tier program, DOC would have had to transfer him to a prison. And they did not do that. I don't believe that inmates get to choose whether or not they're going to stay at county or they're going to go to a prison that offers a tier 2 program or a tier 4 program. The recommendation of the panel, which I was on, was that he take an addiction services program or any other positive programs and not receive any disciplinary reports, any further disciplinary reports. He was able to take an additional positive program in that Mr. Deere is looking to continue to be a personal care assistant when he's out. He was able to take the biohazard cleanup program while he was in the last year. And he was also asked to not get any disciplinary reports during the course of the year, and he was successful at that as well. So on being a person who was on the original panel, I believe that he has satisfied what the panel asked him to do. In addition to that, I believe that when it comes to what Mr. Deere has been able to accomplish, a year ago, he was going to he was going to go somewhere else, which would have put him back in Bridgeport, back in the place where he had the first shot at doing exactly what he had done when he left. They wound up with the 2 sales of narcotics and the 2 failure to appears in the narcotics cases go back now to 6 years ago. Mr. Deere did have a substantial period of employment in the community from with Town Fair Tire that went several years. As reported by Mr. Deere, one of the staff in Bridgeport, where he works as a PCA and takes on additional shifts when other people don't show up or there's a shortage in staff, was going to be able to get him a job or at least a line on a job in Bridgeport. But Mr. Deere made the decision that Bridgeport isn't the place he wants to be because he doesn't want to go back and he doesn't want to continue to do what he had done, that brought him to this period of incarceration. So he's requested to go to Hartford or Norwich. And wants to get into a place, he even said it, where he can get on the bus line and get from, where he's living, which he's requested a halfway house, to his place of employment and back. So there shows a good period of a good thought process when it comes to release. The other piece is that most recent probation period tested him for drugs, and those tests came up negative. He did in 2019 when he sought out, when he was put in to treatment, he went at Connecticut Renaissance. He tested positive for THC, but nothing else. And he's, through thought, he is identified. His problem is being addicted to money, addicted to a lifestyle. He's made or is attempting to make the change. to get away from the lifestyle, and understands supporting yourself is more important than flashing the money that you have or spending it in a way that's inappropriate. He does rate out high. However, the steps that he's taken in his past periods of lengthy incarceration, the last lengthy period, which we talked about, went back to 2010. That's 15 years ago. I think the catalyst for change here is knowing that his son was going back out to do things that, from a place that he grew up in. And that place took his son. And he doesn't want to do that. He wants to make a change, and he wants to use that as a catalyst for change. In the same way, he's seeing family that's important to him, like his uncle who passed away while he's been incarcerated, gone. So for all of those things, I would support his parole today.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for sharing that. I appreciate your thoughts and comments on decision to provide discretion parole. But I will take you back to his decision that was given to him, and all the items that you mentioned were mentioned in that decision. The fact that you talked exactly the same way. He worked at Town Fair Tires, changed his outlook on the past because he was working with addicts in the hospital, which he shared with us again today. That did not change at all. The fact that they wanted him at that point to they wanted him to be able to take a cheer program and voices, not just a cheer program.
It says or.
This says voices. He would benefit from an addiction services program and voices in his decision, in his last decision.
Can I say something about that?
No, we're talking right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse us for the moment.
All right.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. And I'm not taking away from his insights, and I absolutely have empathy and an understanding of the loss of his son,
mm-hmm.
and the challenge with that. I really do. But I'm not seeing his commitment to follow through on the recommendations that were made at that particular point, which he was given an opportunity at that point, because he could have been denied. He was given an opportunity at that point to do these programs. And it was on his responsibility to figure out how he did additional programming, which I have not seen at this particular point, at least not in the current interview that we've just had with Mr. Deere. I do think that he wants to change and is committed to that. He's openly said that he has an addiction to the lifestyle and to money. And even while working, there was still an issue with selling drugs. And that concerns me in terms of the issue of public safety and people who have been, and I don't know the choice of drug that he sold at this moment. I don't remember. It was crack cocaine. It might have been crack cocaine. But God forbid he sold fentanyl and killed someone. And I think there may have been a situation where somebody died in this, and we're not sure. I have those concerns. And I would like to try to be able to do something for Mr. Deere today. But I don't see it. For me, he hasn't given me what I would feel comfortable with at this point, to be able to go with discretionary parole for him today. I don't see a network around him that would help support him on the outside to be able to do this. And I understand wanting to be with his family. Being with family is really very important. And it's very important to him, and I get that. But I think he needs to find a way to get a couple of these programs done to be able to really give him the support and strength to be able to, to battle this addiction of a lifestyle that he has. That's clear on his history. So for me, it's not going to be a granting of his discretion parole today. I'm a denial today with him. And I would hope that if it ends up being a denial, that he uses his time to really pull together for himself a plan that includes significant support on the outside for him so that he can stop this pattern of lifestyle that he's currently lived for the last many years at this point. And again, I don't want to take away from Mr. Deere's work, what he's done for other people. That's admirable, and I think he should continue to do it. And if it brings him additional experience for him and adds to his strength to be able to fight some of these things that he has to do on the outside, that's a positive thing for him. I hope he continues with that, but I will not be supporting his discretionary parole today.
Thank you. Board Member Chance.
Now, what's concerning for me is, yes, he was fully employed fair time, but he acknowledged that he was still selling drugs to supplement his income. That was concerning for me. While I understand that he is not at a facility that does addiction services, I didn't hear him say, I did ask if I could be transferred so that I could complete, my requirement that board said. I appreciate him doing that biohazard cleanup. And I do believe you are correct. When I went back and read the decision, it said or, which was a little concerning because the need to do the addiction services was clearly indicated there. So, while I understand that he thinks that because he has a pretty severe loss in his family, he talked about his thinking patterns are different. He expressed some of that today. But for me, because he says he's addicted to the lifestyle and the money, I think he needed to have a better understanding of what the impact of drugs do, not just to the people who buy it. There's a wider implications. The community himself, his family, everybody that's involved. And, minimizing his alcohol and marijuana abuse. I don't know why he would have gotten a DOC drug score of 3 if there wasn't some indication of that. And yes, he did not receive any disciplinary report in the last year. And as I previously expressed, I had thought Mr. Deere would have come with that release plan, which clearly identified where and whom and what he was going to do. He previously wanted to go to his aunt, but because she opened the daycare, he could no longer go there. So he seemed to think that he didn't have a choice but to go back to Hartford or Norwich, but isn't that the same neighborhood where he came from? kind of see where it's going. Yeah, because,
So is, one sale of narcotic is in orange and the other, I think it was Bridgeport because it says
I believe it was.
New York and a couple other things. It was all down the southern part of the state.
really torn about this. I go back to the written decision, what it said. It said addiction services for. And so, because of that, he did do the or. And the biohazard cleanup did perhaps go hand in hand with the PCA that he's involving in going to the hospital. So because of that,
And if I can as well, DOC has approved him for community release. That's part of his file. DOC has approved him for community release as well. So that's part of his file.
we, I don't know.
That was just done in the last 2 weeks. It's been since it was post to this. So that was it.
So what do you want to do?
I mean, I'd like to see him get support other than just community release, but it's the same. It's the same thing. Honestly, the only,
Well, it's not the same thing.
yeah, okay, go ahead.
Because if it was a majority decision to go on discretionary parole.
Yeah.
He would have direct supervision from a parole officer.
Right,
And I know we're not supposed to discuss that other means, but so it's two very different
Yeah.
situations. So the thing is, which one is going to give him the opportunity to do better? His last two discretionary releases, he failed,
yeah,
which
Yes,
is what was concerning to me.
Yep.
That those two didn't work for him.
I didn't even have those.
Well,
That was another concern.
previously,
That
that was one of my
That wasn't
concerns
right.
that I stated before,
was another concern of mine.
and I'm gonna add it today. So,
so the last one he had, in 15, he had a technical violation in January and he was released again in March. So I don't even think it rose up to the level of a revocation. Because it would be, yeah, it's right in the,
Yeah, that's right. It's
it's in the original, debt.
the original disc, yeah.
And that was 2015-16.
okay, he finished it in 2016. Okay, got it. Okay. I'll grab.
Do you have any more than a halfway house? Would you like to see him do something else?
So,
Maybe they have a couple of programs, maybe Pearl has a couple of programs.
I'm hoping that parole will refer him to one of those community-based programs.
Yeah.
That can really help him.
Yeah.
Because I think that is support that he needs.
Support.
And I know when he came back on discretionary parole and went back out and completed was because he he had that, connection with parole officer.
Yeah.
So I think if he's given that opportunity again. Now, if Mr. Deere, chooses to, go back out and sell drugs, he's gonna have to spend the rest of the time incarcerated.
Yeah.
And I know he has 5 years of probation.
Yeah.
And he was on probation, which is what brought him here today.
Right.
So I'll go with, release today on discretionary parole.
Okay. And,
I'm still a deny.
but you're, just for the decision,
I mean, what reasons?
what would you?
Say I'm inadequate programming and no evidence of climate change.
All right, so in regard to inmate Michael Deere, 253-659, I move to grant parole on or after April 3rd, 2025, with the following stipulation: halfway house placement. Is there a second?
Gotcha.
Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
Nay.
And Mr. Deere, on a vote of 2-1, your parole's been granted. And I really hope you as well listen to what Mr. Rodriguez had to say and maybe find some programming while you're in the halfway house, or talk to your parole officer about some programming to continue to move in a positive direction. Okay?
Yes,
All right. You have a good day now.
you do the same, Pam.
This concludes the hearing for Michael Deere, inmate number 253-659.
Yeah. Here. What do about it?
Set, okay?
Yeah, we'll take one.
Okay, leave the room, okay?
Right.
Yes, you don't know who it is.
We take this little 5-minute recess, and we're gonna reconvene for this, okay?
What?
So.
Yes.
Yeah, that. Thank you.
Sure, yeah, I want to show you something.
Sir, can you hear me?
What she says.
Officer? Mr. Gonzalez, could you have the CO come back in? Could you unmute your end? Could you unmute? Thank you. So the board's taking a 5-minute break, and then once they're done, they'll come and we'll start with Mr. Gonzalez.
Sounds good.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
You should have tape. Life. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Mr. Gonzalez, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect, thank you very much.
Are we starting? We
Yes, sir. Stand by. Good morning, I'm Parole Officer Vasquez. Today is the 3rd of April, 2025, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. The following board members are present this morning and by stating their names on the record do certify that they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Mike Pohl.
Good morning, George Chance.
Morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Thank you,
Good
board
morning.
members. Okay, sir, state your name and inmate number for the record.
Good morning. I'm Gonzalez, 434-684.
Your full name, sir.
Angel Louis Gonzalez, 434-684.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Mr. Gonzalez, he's serving a total effective sentence of 7 years, execution suspended after 30 years. This is followed by 5 years probation. Actually, pardon me, that's a script. Mr. Gonzalez, he's serving a total effective sentence of 6 years consecutive, followed by 10 years special parole for the charges of criminal possession of pistol revolver, illegal transfer, purchase of pistol revolver, and possession with intent to sell, dispense narcotic. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility for Mr. Gonzalez at June 20th, 2025. This is at 50% eligibility. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan, offender accountability plan for this offender, which has been reviewed and shows that the offender has not completed any of the OAP recommended programming. It has been learned, however, that Mr. Gonzalez, the offender, started attending the OAP recommended voices program a day after I conducted the DIS interview. And so he is anticipated to complete the voices program on the 6th of June, 2025, at least according to the RT3M query I ran. The offender remains on the Department of Correctional waiting list for New Thoughts 5 or 7 day job assignment and anger management. And that's also according to the RT3M query that I ran. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score in the SRT falls within the very high range of risk for recidivism. All right, Mr. Gonzalez, this is now your opportunity to express to the board why you feel you should be, or you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
I wrote a speech. So after, if you see anything any questions you guys want to ask, any inconsistencies, just let me know. All right. When I came in, I was a little boy. Now I feel I've flourished into a grown man. I took accountability for what I was doing and elevated my mindset from my wrongs. I have a way more positive outlook on life in general. I believe in karma now. What you give out is what you get back. So I'm cautious with what I put out in this world. I'm going to be a positive factor in people's lives because at the end of the day, when it's my time, what is my mom, my family, people, etc., going to be able to say about me? I'm wasting my life in prison. That's not what I want to be known for. Also, my first bid, I was mostly in the Manson Youth Institution with people my age. So it was hard changing for the better. Not blaming my environment, it's all me, but you are who you're around, right? Now that I've been in jail blocks with people who are 30, 40 years old with nothing to show for it but pride, regret, and a bunch of pain that they can't heal, it really opened my eyes. They have kids they can't see, love they can't find, because prison aren't meant for those. I'm not gonna end up like that. I'm gonna win, make something of myself, so my mom can be proud of me. I was drug dealing and carrying pistols knowing I won't win doing it. It was insanity, but I was doing it all past hurt. I had loved ones who died, and I don't know, I just started self-sabotaging myself by running the streets, not having a care in the world. I know that now that we can't let past hurt affect our present and our future. Life comes with losses. It's how you react to them. I see it clearly now. I'm going to watch my surroundings and be around genuine love and positive environments. I'm going to provide for my loved ones and make the best out of this life God has given me. Thank you for hearing me out, giving me this opportunity and your time, and I'm open to any questions that you have for me.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. What's going to happen here is we've read about your background, the offenses you committed to get to this incarceration, what you've done since you've been in, and based upon that, we have some questions to arrive at your suitability for parole. Okay. We're going to take turns asking those questions. Then we are going to talk about your case, and we're going to give you a decision, okay?
All right.
And the questions this morning will start with Board Member Rodriguez.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it. Good morning, Mr. Gonzalez.
Good morning, Rodriguez.
We're here to kind of figure out whether you're suitable to be able to be released today, right?
Yes, sir.
But one of the things that I'm looking at is your current charge, which is criminal possession of a firearm. Why did you have to have a firearm?
Protect myself. The people I was around, I guess I'm not blaming my surroundings. Of course, I own up to everything. It's on me. It's what I signed up for. But you go to a block, you go to a certain spot, you need to carry a pistol. If you don't, you die. And that's just how it is. You either die or that's how it is in the streets.
So tell me, you're going back out to the streets, right? You're going back out into the community.
Yes. To the world.
So are you telling me that you're going to have to pick up another gun and carry that again?
No.
But then I don't understand. You just said if you're out in the streets, you have to protect yourself.
I have a strong family support system, and I felt like I was jumping in the streets. I wasn't living in the hood, but I chose to go around things like that. And you go to certain areas, it just is what it was. It's what it is. But now I know to be around positive environments. It's who I hang around with, who I'm gonna be with. And I think that's all it boils down to. I mean, yes, it's on me. It's all about me. And I felt like I was self-sabotaging myself in the past. And I was going on past hurt. I was lost in the sauce, per se. I don't know if you know that saying. Just lost.
Yeah, no, I've heard that saying. You know, you're a young man, man. You're 24 years old.
25. 25.
Right?
Just turned 25.
24, 25. You're a young man.
A lot of people call me uncle. They call me uncle now. I feel old.
No, you know, well, maybe your experiences have made you feel a little old. But you're a young man. You're not old. You're a young man.
Yes, sir.
And we have so many young men dying in the streets today over this kind of stuff. And I'd be less concerned with you if this was your first offense. I'd be a little less concerned with you. This is your second offense, carrying a gun.
Yes,
So
sir.
that really concerns me, because I feel like you didn't learn from the first time.
I definitely didn't learn the first time.
No, there's no doubt about that in my mind. You didn't learn.
They gave me 18 months, 3 years probation, my first bid, and I still thought it was sweet.
And you squandered that because I don't think you made it past your probation. I think you was unsuccessful.
No, sir.
So
No, sir.
you didn't even use your probation in a way that would have helped you out to change your lifestyle. Now you also had some gang involvement too, right?
My past,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Where you at with that?
I'm done. I'm not done.
Yeah. Because that's something that draws young men back out in the streets again. Draws them right back in. Yeah. So I'm going to be interested in hearing at some point later on in our discussion what your plan is around that. Right. But for the moment, I want to stick with the severity of this particular problem and how it's connected to the fact that you also were selling drugs. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And that combination is like a storm just waiting to happen.
See, I lasted only 8 months. Definitely is. Doesn't take too long.
No, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long at all. It doesn't take long at all. And I'm not only talking about killing somebody with a pistol or a revolver. I'm talking about killing somebody with drugs. The damage that's being done out in the community by young men just like you, who are out there earning quick money, but killing people, killing other young people, breaking up families, creating losses, economic losses for families, putting people into poor situations. So the severity of your charge is immense for me. We're hearing it every day.
It's sad, but that's how the world. A lot of sin in this world.
All right. So
like I said, I'm trying to be a more positive person in this life.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that because it's a hard thing to do when you come from this kind of lifestyle to kind of do that. I appreciate that you're trying to do that. But the added concern that I have over that is that you haven't taken any programs.
I have the paperwork.
And for me, and I'm sure it's going to be for my colleagues too, that's a critical element for you to get better, to be on the outside. And I have to be able to think about, does it make sense for me to send Mr. Gonzalez back out again?
Oh, it is.
Because he doesn't have, he's young. Number one, he's young. Number two, he's been exposed to this for a while. Number three, it's not the first time. I got all these things to think about. Number four, is the public going to be safe with you outside? Those are the things I got to think about when I'm talking to you. And I can't talk to you about programs or what you've learned. Not that you haven't learned stuff, because I'm sure that being in there has given you some insight into that you don't want to be there. And I get that. Nobody wants to be there. I wouldn't want to be locked up. Nobody wants to be locked up. Forget about any programs. Nobody wants to be locked up. But the programs are what help you develop the things that you need so that you don't come back there. And if you don't take them, you come out without that.
Mm-hmm.
And for a young man like you, who, you know, seems to want to do something better, based on your statement, you seem to be saying you want to do something better. Without these, you can't get to that place. You can't get from point A to point B.
I understand completely.
So I'd love to talk to you about programs, but I can't because you haven't taken any. All I can hear from you is what
And
you've learned basically on your own. And from maybe you've talked to some other, you know, folks who are there who have had some experience, and you're kind of gaining some of that. And that's good and bad probably, because there'll probably be some bad stuff you heard too, right? But how you can do things easier on the outside that are against the law.
There's always trying to find a loophole.
Always trying to find something, you know, and you know, eat up your mind, you know, to go a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that you learn some stuff, but you know, I'm trying to figure out how I can make sense of saying it's a great idea to let you go today because you've gotten what you need. For me, I still think you need to do some of these programs. And I'm so glad that you started Voices. That's kind of a good start for you, because that will help you understand how your behavior impacts people in the community and the community itself, your loved ones of victims, you know, what community businesses, community establishments, the economy of the business, the stuff that you do, and how many of those victims are out there that you don't even think about when you're doing the stuff that you're doing. You know, so I'm glad that you started with Voices. I think that's a great start. The other thing that I'll share with you, and maybe you could tell me a little bit about, is your tickets, man.
Yeah.
You got some DRs, and they're not that old.
Definitely not.
Right? And it's not that I don't expect it from a young person. I kind of do, but you know, some of them were, you know, contraband, which is pruno, fighting, right? Which tells me that there's an issue maybe around anger with you. Would you agree with that?
I say I'm a pretty calm person. I'm a pretty calm person. I don't get offensive. I don't get offensive unless it comes to me for real.
Okay, all right.
But sometimes I'm loyal to a fault. I'll ride for my person that I love, or somebody I got heart for. I'll ride for him, and
bad choices.
I would be a crash out.
Bad choices, right? That's New Thoughts.
Too many.
Right? That's the program New Thoughts to help you think about the choices that you make. You see, you need those programs to really help kind of build who you are and rebuild who you are, to think a different way and to see things in a different way. So your tickets, you know, are concerning to me. Tell me about the pruno charges.
Those are honestly a way to, at first it was the drink. I was hurting, you know, in jail, you're stressful, especially now I'm in a jail with people who are older, so that's regular to them. People who have life or they're fighting bodies, so they put me onto the trade of pruno and just drink and just forget about everything that's going on, all the stress.
Yeah, and that's interesting because you score a 1 on your substance use, and you drinking in prison.
I don't drink anymore, but yeah, I was going crazy.
And you say you don't, wait a minute, and you say you don't have a problem.
I don't have it no more. I was going crazy before though. I was going crazy. I was drinking like I had life, like I was facing the murder charge.
Let me tell you this. If you had it this time, you're bound to do it again if you're not watching out. Because you may have an issue with dealing with some of your stressors, man, with some of your triggers.
I found my inner peace, and I love my sober self. I love my sober self.
I'm glad to hear that, but you know.
I know I could just say it, but
having an understanding of people who kind of are challenged by some of these things, you know, it got you in trouble, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that says a lot to me. That says a lot to me, and it's something that I think you need to think about. Right? I think you need that in mind. The fighting. What was up with the fighting?
There were certain occasions where it would be somebody from Waterbury or something like that, and you know how jail politics are, and I'm just riding for somebody else. That was like once or twice, if I'm not mistaken. The most recent one, that was one of those. Most recent fighting one, that was in March, right before I got sentenced, March or May. Yeah, that's when I got.
I tell you what, I saw you when you had one in May, and you had one both of them were in May, I think.
No,
I see two in May.
No, I ain't fight twice in May.
No, so you're right. It was May. You're right. It was May.
It was once in May.
Yeah.
That occasion, it really just, I was there and knowing me, I'm loyal to a fault. I just started fighting him.
Yeah. I saw that.
Now, I know not to be a crash out though.
You know, sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes we get people who've been in prison 10 years, not one ticket. 10 years, not one ticket.
They good at staying out the way. They know
every colleague will tell you, even longer. We've seen people there 20 years, not one ticket.
They know something.
You know who that falls on? Who does that fall on? Who does the ticket fall on? You. Yeah, you. It's you who has to be able to make those choices and make those decisions. And that's why you need the programming.
Yes, sir. I have it about the programming. I have the inmate passes. I'm in voices. That's one. That's an inmate pass. Let me see that.
Yeah, your voices.
And then look, it's the same one, same program. I'm in New Thoughts also.
When did you start that?
Same time. They put me both the programs.
Okay, so you're just recently in there.
They started on the 20th and the 21st.
I'm glad to hear that.
And it's a 10-week program. So in the beginning of June, they end. But it's not even about that. It's about me learning something, of course.
You know what? I'm glad to hear that because you need those programs. You really do need those programs. Your EOS isn't until March of 28. And then you're going to have 10 years of special parole. So you're going to have somebody watching you for quite a long time. So what does that tell you?
I can't play no more.
You got to have your act together.
I can't play. I know one false move, I'm right back in.
You're right back in, and probably completing the whole time. You know, so how important are those programs?
Monumental.
Yeah, they're monumental, man. And I want to see you be able to take all of them, and maybe even a couple more. You know, just to make sure that you're, set up and and kind of arranged and ready to be on the outside and to have that network of support that you need on the outside to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do. Can you tell me a little bit about what your goals are? What are your goals at this moment? And they're going to change, but what are they right now?
Intermediate goals? Well, I'm just focusing on bettering myself. Just going out, if I'm improved, whatever, even if I'm not, just keep on bettering myself, elevate my mind, stay positive, because it's about consistency, and just becoming the best version of myself for real. Like, that's internally, not really externally.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
But of course, giving, because you got to give in order to receive.
Yeah.
It's all what you give in this world is what you're going to get back. So that's why I'm trying to be a positive person. I'm trying to do better, because at the end of the day, when it's my time, I want people to say good about me. I want to make my mark in this world in a positive way.
You want your legacy. You want your legacy to be positive.
Yes, I want generational wealth.
That's a good way of thinking. That's a good way of thinking. And the best way to get to that place is to prepare yourself for that.
All right, I'm getting there.
Yeah,
I'm not perfect, but I feel like I'm in a way better place.
Nobody's perfect, Mr. Gonzalez. Nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We all try to make our way and do the best that we can do and try to make the best choices that we can make in life to pull us in the right direction. And I hope that that you're seriously doing that, because like I said, you're a young man. you know, you don't need to be in prison, man. You need to be doing good things on the outside. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you've got to make some changes, man. I tell you, the 2 gun charges concern me. The tickets concern me very much. The fact that you haven't just started your programming.
Yeah, but still, I'm not.
Also concerns me. On the positive side to that, I'm glad that you're taking the programming and that you started it. And I'm hoping that whatever happens today with you, that you continue on this path of getting these programs and getting many positive programs as you can before it's time to start that special parole. Because you're gonna need all of that to be able to maintain while you're on the outside. Because the minute you mess up, you're back. And you're back for a long time.
I'm aware.
All right. I don't have any more questions for you at this moment. I appreciate you talking to me.
I appreciate what you told me. Understand that I'm younger and I'm still learning. I appreciate that.
You are. But at least you got the motivation to learn. And I'm glad to hear that. All right. So listen, I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Gonzalez. I really hope that life goes good for you at some point once you got yourself together.
It will. Right. Trust me.
I'm going to pass it on to my colleagues.
Good luck to you too. Good luck to you too.
Thank you. I'm going to pass it on to my colleagues, and if they have any additional questions, see if they what they say. And if not, if I have any more when they ask, I'll come back to you.
All right.
Board Member Chance, any questions?
I just wanted to, just to say I absolutely agree with everything that Mr. Rodriguez says. I want to go back to a comment that that Mr. Gonzalez made in his opening comments. You said you are who you are around.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to ask you to rethink that statement, Mr. Gonzalez, because you are incarcerated, you're with a variety of people, and if you continue to act the way they do, or some of them do, you're going to remain in trouble and keep getting DRs. You understand what I'm saying?
I think I'm getting the gist. Are you like, it doesn't matter who I'm around, it's all up to me? Is that what you're trying to say?
It's about you and how you behave. Because if you are around people that are doing negative things, you don't want to be doing those negative things. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm trying to get it. Can you say it one more time, please?
So you said you are who you are around.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's what you have in your head, you are with a group of people. Some may be doing something positive, others may be doing negative things.
Mm-hmm.
But you're around both sets of people. So you want to be looking for people who are doing positive things. And that's why, that statement can be misleading.
Okay. I get it.
You get it now?
Yes.
Because by saying that, it tells me you're getting into fights, you're drinking when you have a drugstore of ones, you're making large quantities of pruners, who knows what you're doing with it. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So you also said to the parole officer that you had family support of your mother, your stepfather, and your aunts and uncle. But when you were asked again, now that you're incarcerated, who's there to support you? And the only person's name you could come up with was your mother.
Yeah.
So again, you turn 25, so your brains is now fully developed. So your thinking should be changing. If you were to look back all those people that you previously identified, they're there for you. The problem is you weren't listening to anything they were saying.
Yeah, you so right. That's funny. Yeah, cause you know you can only add 12 calls on your call list, and I would choose not to have my loved ones, my actual family on my call. I would choose friends, people that don't even send me no money. It's just entertainment, females that don't do nothing for me. But at the end of the day, I got my step house. I have my mother. I have my aunts and uncles. They gave me their number. I just choose not to do it. So that's what comes with me blocking my blessings, and that's self-sabotage. So I'm really working on that. I'm trying to be more prioritized with family now that I'm grown now and I recognize who's really here for me.
Yeah. So you said you were in the New Thoughts program.
Yes, ma'am.
And the other one was Voices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So pay careful attention to those two programs. If you have to make notes for yourself, and when you go back to your sleeping area, go over them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he gives us homework. The first two, he gave homework assignments, and we had to go over like cases of victims. Like I wrote about the kidnapping, the one in Waterbury with the woman kidnapping and went global. Everybody wrote about that. So just pretty much dissecting about victims and everything. So I'm it's the first, second week, but yeah, we're getting there.
And the New Thought program is to really help your thinking process, so that you don't come to another parole hearing and say you are who you are around. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you have to do the program, so you know what you have to do today. You're not going to be suitable today because you really need those programs, especially in light of your disciplinary reports. So you understand that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you go back and get those classes done. No more DRs.
Got you. Bye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
What they said. Right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So Voices, New Thoughts, Anger Management,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
and
No
so
DRs. I want to bring it back.
no DRs.
I want to bring it back.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah, I want to,
yeah. No, that's, we all said, it
Yeah,
was all
okay.
said, and I
Good.
just said what you guys said.
This year.
Yeah.
So, March. And I mean, I've read some stuff, but, in terms of substances, but, and the
He was
street
drinking.
life kind of thing.
He was drinking.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was, yeah.
but
As a matter of fact, when he was last out, he was drinking, and his last alcohol was December of last year.
but his substance use score is a 1.
One. That's what I said. That's why I said the one.
Which is like,
And he's Bruno.
But he's at Bruno. He's,
yeah, go ahead.
But the assessment tool, it's faulty in that regard, and that's my opinion.
yeah.
Look at what it captures, you're not gonna get an accurate reading.
You're right.
So, in the narrative, can we ask Addiction Services to take another look at them,
I can, yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think he needs an addiction
Okay,
services.
so Tier, Voices, New Thoughts, Anger Management, no disciplinary reports, current offense committed on probation,
Yeah.
inadequate evidence of offender change, poor institutional adjustment, inadequate institutional program participation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do the current offense. I would
Okay,
just,
just leave it on the
I would
three.
Yeah.
do the
Okay.
inadequate institution
Yep.
program and
Yeah,
new
participation.
evidence and the
Yep.
core institution,
Yeah.
those two.
Okay. So in regard to Angel Gonzalez, 434-684, I move to deny parole today based upon inadequate evidence of offender change or institutional adjustment and inadequate institutional program participation. And to rehear this case in March of 2026, when we, and
Contrary.
March, to March.
If
We do April, we do April. April too. April.
Yeah, April.
I give you a full year, full year.
Okay, give me a full. In April of 2026 with the recommendations as follows.
Finish voice.
To complete a tier program, to complete voices, complete new thoughts, to complete anger management, to remain disciplinary report free.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. So, Mr. Gonzalez, so what we just did is I heard what's headed towards change, right? And basically what we all agreed, looking at your file, that we wanted you to do more programs, right? So we denied based upon inadequate evidence of offender change. Doesn't mean that we don't see offender change to start with, right? But the programs are going to help you along the way, right?
Yes.
And then for institutional adjustment because of the tickets, right? And we're asking that you not get any more tickets, right?
Okay.
Make the right choices. And then obviously inadequate institutional program participation, which means that you just haven't completed the programs yet to do that, right? We want addiction services. We're asking addiction services to take another look at you because it says that your substance use score is a 1. And we think that like the stuff that goes on in the street and stuff like that we're addicted to, that's something that's also covered in tier 2. And, if there's a substance use issue or something like that there, taking that tier program would be helpful to you as you go forward. The Voices program, you already see how it's beneficial because you see things from other people's point of view, that the victims as such. New thoughts, you're seeing, you're already seeing how that's being helpful. And then anger management, which will help you as well with emotional regulation and things like that. We think that all of those programs will complement each other. We're here. We want to be supportive in this, and we want you to get the right stuff. We want to be able to send you out there so that you're successful. Okay?
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
you have a lot
I
of
appreciate
potential. You have a lot of potential, Mr. Gonzalez. And you said it. You want your legacy to be that you are the kind of person who did the right thing and the good thing.
Mhm.
And this is your way of being able to do that. So hopefully you'll be committed to what you said you wanted to do, and you'll follow through on these things. So whenever the next panel comes up to talk with you, we're going to see a totally different person on the screen.
Definitely will. You definitely
All
will.
right. And good luck to you. Good luck to
Thank you. Take
And
care.
good luck to you too. Take care.
All right.
Thank you, board members. This concludes the parole hearing for Mr. Angel L. Gonzalez, inmate number 434-684. Good luck, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you. Good luck, Bass Weapon.
Okay.
The next one. Well, not here. The next one down, Judge. Yep. All set.
Good luck. Thank you.
Good morning.
I would have an issue too.
Hold on a minute. All right, thanks, Mr. Corey. You hear me perfectly, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Good morning, I'm Parole Officer Vasquez. Today is the 3rd of April, 2025, and this is a hearing of the State of Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. The following board members are present this morning, and by stating their names on the record, they do certify that they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Morning, Mike Paul.
Good morning to a chance.
Morning, panel member Rodriguez.
Thank you, board members. All right, sir, please state your name and inmate number for the record.
My name is Joshua Corey, and my main number is 444-908.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Corey. Then Mr. Corey, he is serving a total effective sentence of 7 years execution suspended after 3 years, followed by 5 years probation for the charge of failure to obtain serial number engraving ineligible APA poster. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility for Mr. Corey at the 3rd of March, 2025. This is at 50% eligibility. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for this offender, which has been reviewed and shows that the offender has not completed any of the OAP recommended programming. The offender, however, has been actively attending GED classes, and he remains on the Department of Correction waiting list for 5 or 7 day job assignment, voices and anger management. This according to the RT3 inquiry I ran for his case. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the very high range of risk for recidivism. All right, Mr. Corey, this is now your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Good morning, guys. So the years leading up to my incarceration was filled a lot of risky and not so good behaviors. And unfortunately, me coming to jail was the outcome. But I can say this, it's most definitely saved my life, and it's opened my eyes to the consequences. And it honestly, I'm just glad that I had this the outcome, because I wouldn't know where I would be at today. I just but I am thankful to have this opportunity to come speak to you guys today. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get my my OAPs done because the list is so long, and all the transfers from certain facilities just set me back on the list. But I do plan on getting those done, rather maybe in here, or if I am granted parole, I can do all that stuff in the world. Because I do plan on getting mental health treatment, and also I'm sorry, I'm just kind of nervous right now.
Is it easier for us to just ask you questions, or you wrote something out?
Yeah, can you just ask me questions? I'm sorry.
Certainly.
No
All
problem.
right, so certainly we can get to that. So what we're going to do is we took a look at your background,
Yes.
which is really not that very extensive. And we took a look at what you've done since you've been in and your interview with the parole officer.
Yes.
And based upon that, we have some questions for you. Then we're going to talk about your case and give you a decision, okay?
All right.
And we're going to start questions this morning with Board Member Chance.
Yes, so Mr. Corey, you are extremely young,
Yes, ma'am.
but you are able to acknowledge today that coming to jail saved your life,
Oh, yes, most
and
definitely.
it probably did. I also hope that, it's an eye opener for you.
Yeah. And I take responsibility for everything, I know that I wasn't, all the choices I was making was off of this fight or flight,
thing that's been wired in my head from when I was young, you know, so at the end of the day, like, yeah, the decisions I made were wrong, and I take full responsibility for it. And honestly, like, this, you know, almost 2 years that I've been in, it's been so, it's honestly, the decision making that I've had was like, so, I think I've grown so much, because like a lot of the things that I would have, like I would react to, you know, when I was out and here, a lot of it's just whatever, you know. So I'm just thankful, you know. I'm thankful that I'm here today, and you know, when I do come home, you know, I do plan on, you know, healthy family, healthy relationships with friends and family, and I just gotta work on, you know, setting a grounding for myself, you know, not having to engage in those risky behaviors, and so.
Yeah, you know, just looking at your history, Mr. Corey, you have a really I have to say extensive, you know, history where you've previously been given unconditional discharges. Somehow, none of that seemed to work. So maybe timing is everything.
Yeah.
Right. So what we do to determine whether you're suitable to go out is we look at your behavior during incarceration, your participation in premiums, in programs.
Yeah.
So just looking, you have earned 3 DRs, 1, 2, 3. I count 4 here for fighting.
Yes, ma'am.
And so basically what we're looking at today is that you really, really need to take some programs. Because right now, I can speak for myself. I don't find you suitable to go out. I do think that on your OAP, you have voices and anger management. The other question that I really want to ask you, do you think you have a problem with substance abuse?
No, ma'am.
You don't. So I read where you've been smoking marijuana since age 9. But I also heard that you were using Xanax and ecstasy.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, during the time when I was out, but I was 16. So they asked me those questions if I ever used it, which I was. But leading up to my incarceration, you know, the year of, it was mainly just the marijuana use.
You didn't think that posed a problem for you?
Oh no, it definitely did. It definitely did.
You know, so as a young person, Mr. Corey, one of the things that I think would help you is to be in a program that you will learn about the education that will focus on not just the substances you use, the effect that it has on your mental well-being, the impact on your family and your support and your community wherever you're purchasing it. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's one of my thoughts. The other is the illegal weapon. And it is concerning because I'm sure you are aware of what's going on in our communities with young people. And I know you're only 21. but I'm sure you're aware of what's going on.
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you think there was a need for you to have that ghost done?
Well, I was in a very high risk, area, and I was dealing with a lot of people that I really shouldn't have, unfortunately. I was just making a lot of bad decisions, and I find myself, because I was homeless also too, so I'm jumping from house to house, couch to couch, and I'm dealing with a lot of people that I shouldn't have been dealing with, so I think it was just the fact that, I don't know, I was kind of, either I felt in fear for my life, or it was kind of just something to have, so, I can't really give a good explanation without sounding, contradictive, so, but it wasn't right. I shouldn't have had that gun, but I can't change that,
Okay. So what I'm going to say to you is, as I said before, I don't find you suitable today because I think you do need to complete the programs. Would you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. However, just based on our conversation today, I would like to give you the opportunity to come back. This is your first incarceration.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And so this is the first felony charge that you've had. But your criminal history doesn't look good either. So I think you serving this time will help to prepare you for when you go back out, that you will have acquired or gained some more knowledge. And I know you still have a lot of learning to do. So I hope that going forward, you will make every effort to avoid getting any more DRs. And as I said, they're predominantly for fighting. So you have to figure out a way until you have completed the anger management. You have to figure out a way where you don't get into the fights, figure out a way to leave the situation.
That's okay. All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I don't have anything further. I just hope that you will ensure that you do complete those programs. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm all set.
Thank you. Board Member Rodriguez, anything further?
Yeah, Mr. Corey, I just want to say, you said you lived in an area where you felt you needed to protect yourself.
Yes, sir.
You're running around with a gun with no ammo and no magazine. How do you protect yourself?
So
Well, they
because
said that when they found it, they didn't find
Yeah,
any
yeah.
ammo or mag.
exactly, because I didn't have it at the time on me. I got I was actually coming back from work when the officer pulled over and he said, "Sir, what's your name?" And I was like, I gave him my name. And I'm like, officer, I would just like to tell you, like, I have a firearm on me. It's not loaded. There's not a clip in it. But so I'm safe. You're safe. I just want to let them know what was going on. And but at the time, at the time, I didn't have the clip or any ammo in it because there was just a situation where I didn't have.
Well, I'm glad you didn't have to protect yourself at that point or pull that gun out.
Oh no, I'm not. No,
I'm just glad you didn't find yourself in a situation where you would have done that.
Yeah, because I respect I respect the law. I like police, you know, so I would never put myself in that predicament.
I wasn't
especially-
talking about the police. I was talking about your area where if you're found
Oh, yeah.
in an area.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, I think my colleague is right. You're a young man, very young. And, you know, I agree. I think you need to, you know, kind of have the experience of the additional programming to really just give you the kind of skill sets that you're going to need to be able to deal with some of the things that right now may set you off.
Yeah.
Especially with all the fighting tickets you've had.
Well, can I explain the fighting tickets though?
Well, you can, and I'm sure that's difficult in the situation that you're in, and that you
Yeah.
find yourself somewhere where you feel like you got to defend yourself. But you know what? We have guys who have been in there for 10 years, not one ticket.
Yeah.
20 years, not one ticket, especially for fighting. So, you know, I mean, somehow people figure it out. And at this moment, you just haven't gotten to that point yet. And hopefully with the additional program that you take, or the program that you take, it'll help you figure it out.
All right.
All right, listen, good luck to you. I don't have any additional questions. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Board Member Rodriguez. How far are you in the GED program?
I got one more. I got my math that's left.
Yes.
One.
What do you think?
All right, this one.
The end. Probably the end of this month.
I think you're in good shape.
Yeah. I mean, math's not my strong suit, but I think I'll be okay.
All right.
Listen, if you pass it by 1 point, you pass it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I got my first 3 tests done in the matter of like a month and a half. So I just been working on my math. So.
Good.
I thought as much, that's the one.
Yeah, all right. It's the hardest one.
Yeah. Yep.
They start throwing letters in with numbers.
Yeah, that's where it gets a little tricky, you know.
Well, dice. So, I heard what everybody said. So, I have inadequate program participation, inadequate evidence of offender change, and poor institutional adjustment.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And we want him to, if voices and anger management are on his OAP.
And I would like to add addiction services.
Okay, so,
I
and
think he could do with some education in there.
see if we can make any kind of note in the dispo that for them to take a look at
Addiction.
whether he could get into addiction services. Because he's a 2, but if we ask him to look, hopefully he'll be able to do that. Any other programming?
I think
No DRs,
no doubt, definitely look at yours.
and try to get a job assignment after. He won't get it until after he's done with GED.
Okay.
When you want to bring it back,
I think 1 year.
when you
So 1 year gives us,
his
His end of sentence right now is in July.
Gives him 3 months in the supervision, which you probably want to have.
what do you think about 9 months? What do you think about the end of the year, December?
January,
January's fine with me. That gives him 6 months.
Can we go with
Maybe on
December?
April 5,
And
April 5.
hopefully he'd be out. Hopefully the way they work.
He'd be out in January, he'd be out. in
He's
January.
looking for a halfway house, and with the way
Oh,
they're
so
backed up
you-
right now,
okay,
So
so
December,
if we do December,
I'll go with that too. Just some time to do some programming and.
yeah,
that way it's like, if they could get him 6 months there, that would be good, because
yeah,
homeless challenge is real.
yes, and parole focus on
Yeah.
being, you know, yeah.
All right, so regarding Joshua Corey, 444908, I move to deny parole today based on inadequate institutional program participation, poor institutional adjustment, and inadequate evidence of offender change. And to rehear this case in December of 2025 with recommendation that he complete voices, anger management, that requested DOC look at addiction services for a tier program, any other positive programming, and to remain DR free. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. So, Mr. Corey, we see the positive attitude. We see you want to change. We want to help, and that's what these programs can do. So if you can go ahead and engage in those programs and stay away from DRs, and come back and see us, in December, it'd be good to try to see that we can get you some halfway house support for 6 months before that is that. Okay. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Good luck, Mr. Corey, and remember, no DR.
Thank you.
Good luck, sir.
This concludes this hearing for Mr. Joshua Corey, 444908. Thanks and good luck, Mr. Corey.
Thank you.